So most of you probably weren't expecting this one, eh? The third and final dinosaur for our wetland species pack is Hypsilophodon. Let's check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Hypsilophodon to the park.
Okay, so there's a good reason nobody really expected this one. It's maybe not what you'd think of for a wetlands dinosaur. Our little Neo-Ornithischian comes from the early Cretaceous of England, specifically the Wessex Formation on the Isle of Wight. Now this was a semi-arid environment that did contain floodplains and rivers, and during the winters, particularly heavy rainfall. But I definitely wouldn't have had it down as a wetland dinosaur. It probably isn't a dinosaur that thrived in the semi-aquatic, in those sodden environments, and it wants to stay in the woodlands, in the forest where it can hide from predators and move easily. It ain't a Dinosuchus either way, is it, Reddit? That said, Hypsilophodon has been a somewhat popular request for a long time now. For a lot of us in England in particular, it's a really well-known dinosaur because it's one of our own and we don't have that many. And as one of the earliest discovered dinosaurs, and we're talking all the way back in 1849 here, it featured in a lot of books and artwork and museum displays and stuff. We also have a ton of specimens for this little guy, which is quite rare for small European herbivores. Design-wise though, it is a mixed bag for me. I think the body morphology is pretty spot on, and whilst it's probably not the most exciting new dinosaur for a lot of people, I think it's got quite an interesting skull shape. I think the fifth finger is an interesting primitive throwback, although Hypsilophodon would have still made use of it. I like the inclusion of that powerful beak and its long ass. Look at the shins. The shins are humongous and they made it really quick and speedy as a dinosaur, but they also give it this really strange, quite unique body shape, unlike anything else in the game. It's like a malformed Drysaurus almost. But then there's the pattern. Those cursed frontier splotches return yet again. I get that there's time restraints and stuff like that, but every time I see these, I roll my eyes a little bit now. It's so overdone, and it feels like it's the herbivores that keep getting the short end of the stick. I do think I assume this is the male one, but this one here looks a lot better with the multicolored gradient. And if you look at the other one, which I assume is the female, it's got that splash of blue on the neck, which I feel like I've talked about in every dinosaur this week. But that's appreciated, but still, it's hardly gonna move mountains, is it? And that continues to an extent with the animations, which again all feel a little bit seen this before. The preening animation between the two adults, the hatchery exit animation, although I think it showcases the weirdo body shape really nicely, and I do like that a lot. And the juvenile social animation, they're all okay, but they do feel a little bit uninspired compared to, say, what we saw with the Ostroraptor, which I thought had incredible animations. Now, to be fair, I cannot imagine how difficult it is to come up with literally hundreds of social animations and still keep them feeling unique, and it's definitely not a quality issue. I think, like the others, it's a well-animated dinosaur. It just seems like it maybe got the short end of the stick this time around in terms of the creativity. It's almost like, yeah, we know this is not the heavy hitter of the pack, the other two are, we can kinda give it a little bit less time, and that's a shame. That said, whilst the sneak up and jump animation doesn't move me, I do like the juvenile model for this one a lot. Those strange body proportions in combo with the juvenile large eyes give it this distinctly alien sort of look. It's a weird looking dude, and I appreciate that a lot. I also like the pattern on the juvenile more than either of the adults, which is strange because it looks to be a unique one. It might just be very big splotches, but by doing that, it makes the whole body have this kind of scattered two-tone coloration, and I think it's an improvement. I'd have liked to see this on the adults, honestly. Now, unfortunately, unless I'm crazy, always a distinct possibility, there's not much new in terms of scenery either on this one. I like some of the blueprints being showcased though. This wooden tower and in particular this boathouse are pretty cool. I love a boathouse, but that does seem to basically be our lot for this one. All in all, it's a mixed bag then. I do think it's a fun addition to the game. It's nice to buff up the herbivore roster, and we already had 2 carnivores. But it's certainly not a dinosaur that feels like it stacks up against the 2 we've already seen. I do think there's a bit of a habit of people getting disappointed by anything that isn't a big spooky predator, and I want to say that's really not my problem here whatsoever. It's not necessarily a problem with Hypsilophodon being included, although I do think it's a strange choice for a Wetlands pack, but I don't think the other facets of the design have matched up to what we've seen earlier this week. I fear that Hypsilophodon is going to fall into that forgotten bin pretty quickly, as is life. What do you think of Hypsilophodon? And now the 3 dinosaurs all revealed for the Wetlands pack, and those are our final 3 of course. Are you happy? Are you disappointed? Are you hungry? Let me know in the comment section down below, and whilst there's no more dinosaurs to see, there is more stuff coming before the launch of the Wetlands pack, so keep an eye out in the coming days. Remember, we do have a teased new returning dinosaur. I know that's slightly oxymoronic. Nobody knows what it is because we're not allowed to speculate. But I will be revealing the mystery before the release of the pack. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye.
Road.